Indiana against Maryland, an important game for the Hoosiers down in Bloomington, coming off of a tough loss to Northwestern on the road earlier in the week. The Hoosiers and the Terps were in a back-and-forth affair featuring 3 ties and 9 lead changes over the 40-minute contest. The final lead change was the most painful for the Hoosiers as Rodney Rice canned a 3 in the closing seconds to give Maryland a 79-78 lead. The Hoosiers did have one last shot, but a broken inbounds play secured the victory for Maryland. The Hoosiers fall to 14-7 overall in the season, 5-5 in Big Ten play, and have a date with their red-hot rival, the Purdue Boilermakers, in Mackey on Friday. 24-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic held off the leader of the next generation, Carlos Alcaraz, in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. Djokovic won in 4 sets, 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, and 6-4 in 3.5 hours to reach the Aussie Open semis. Novak will next face Alexander Zverev in his mind-boggling 50th career Grand Slam semifinal on Thursday. It's November, and as the leaves have begun to change, Indiana's football's dominance on the field has persisted. 8-0 Indiana traveling up north to East Lansing to take on 4-4 Michigan State. Let's head out to Spartan Stadium. The old brass spittoon on the line this afternoon. Indiana trailing for the first time all season in the first quarter. Aiden Childs extending the play and finding Nick Marsh for the touchdown. That one's good on Sundays as well. Michigan State up 10-0 as we head to the second quarter. Indiana's Curtis Rourke drops back to pass, looking for his tight end. He's got Zach Horton, who will strut into the end zone. The Hoosiers on the board in the second period. Now, later in that second quarter, Tyson Lawton muscles it in from 1 yard out, giving Indiana their first lead of the ball game, and it's one the Hoosiers would keep for the remainder of the contest. 23-10, Indiana adding to its lead. Miles Price with the touchdown from Curtis Rourke, who returned from injury to lead the Hoosiers to 47 unanswered points and a 47-10 win over the Michigan State Spartans. It's the third consecutive trip for Indiana to East Lansing that they returned with that trophy, the old brass spittoon trophy, coming back to Bloomington once again. The Hoosiers look to keep their magical season going this upcoming weekend by taking on the Michigan Wolverines on Saturday at 3:30 on CBS. Yankees-Dodgers Game 4 of the World Series. Will we crown a champion tonight? Let's head to the Bronx and find out. Yankee Stadium, the site. I bet those kids were not alive in 2009, the last time the Yankees took home that. The Commissioner's Trophy in the house tonight. Freddie Freeman gets the Dodgers started once more. His home run in a third straight World Series game this postseason gives the Dodgers an early 2-0 lead in the first. Bottom half of the frame now, Gleyber Torres down the right field line. Mookie Betts ranges over, and we've got a little bit of a kerfuffle down that right field line. Betts getting into it with a couple of fans. Looks like we've got a good old-fashioned game, a tug-of-war down that right field line between Mookie Betts and a pair of New York Yankees supporters. Not sure who won that battle of tug-of-war. It might have been Betts, considering they were ejected, and it was ruled out. Anthony Volpe, now it's his turn. The Yankees fan growing up, dreaming of a moment like this, gets the job done against Daniel Hudson, whose UCL is on its last leg. Volpe gets the job done, giving the momentum to the Yankees. The Dodgers, they would not go away quietly, however, as the right field porch gets a souvenir. It's Will Smith that delivers that one, but once again, the Dodgers tried to come back. The Yankees, they were too much in this one. That was Austin Wells, gives a jolt to the Yankee Stadium crowd, giving the Yankees a 6-4 lead. The Yankees would eventually run away with it 11-4, coasting to a win in Game 4 of the World Series. The Dodgers looking to close it out in Game 5 in the Bronx tonight. Indiana and Purdue for the second time this season, this time though in Bloomington. Let's head out to Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall for all of the second half action. It got started early in the second half. That's a deal steal, a run out for Trey Galloway. Indiana back within 7 in the early stages of the second half. Just a couple of moments later, Malik Reneau crosses the 1,000 career point threshold with that two-handed slam, another feed from Galloway. But Indiana wasn't done. The other Hoosier big man, this time it's Umar Ballo spinning and winning to get the 2 points. Indiana's lead up to 13. Later in the second half, Trey Galloway Umar Ballo, he'll take the screen, and that's an alley-oop finish right there for the big fella Ballo. Mike Woodson after the game said that it was the seniors that carried Indiana to victory. How about 10 years of college basketball experience combined between those two right there. But Galloway and the Hoosiers, they weren't done quite yet. Under 2.5 to play, Indiana by 11. Did somebody order a dagger? Is that Nick Zeisloft? No, it's Trey Galloway, a dagger of a three. Indiana by 14. The Hoosiers would coast to a 73-58 win to pull out their second-ranked win in as many weeks. The Hoosiers have continued to shock the college football world in Curt Cignetti's first year at the helm. They're off to their best start to a season since 1967 when they opened 8-0. And they haven't just been beating their opponents in their 6-0 start, they've been routing them. And today, as the Hoosiers look to improve to 7-0 on the season, they had a tall task awaiting them in the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. To Memorial Stadium we go, the 16th ranked Hoosiers taking the field. First quarter, first and goal, Justice Ellison takes it in for the 5-yard touchdown. Hoosiers with an early 7-0 lead. Second quarter, Curtis Rourke finds Miles Price on the outside for the 7-yard score. The Hoosiers up 14-0. Nebraska putting together a nice drive. Second and 21, Dylan Raiola up the left seam finds Thomas Fedoni for the 25-yard gain. That set the Huskers up for second and goal, where Ja'Cory Barney took it around the left side edge for the 7-yard score, cutting the Indiana lead to 14-7. Second quarter, second and 2, Justice Ellison weaves his way down the field for the 31-yard touchdown, his second score of the day. Indiana up 28-7. Now to the second half, the Indiana defense showed up and showed out in this one too. Dylan Raiola trying to avoid the pressure, but his pass is picked off by Jameer Johnson. Now moving on, Taven Jackson into the game at quarterback after Curtis Rourke suffered a thumb injury in the first half. An update on that in just a moment. He finds Elijah Surratt for the 15-yard score as Indiana blows out Nebraska 56-7. Their 49-point win is tied for the largest win against a Big Ten opponent ever. An update on Indiana starting quarterback Curtis Rourke. He will likely miss their game against Washington on Saturday. He underwent thumb surgery on that right thumb on Monday. Reports are that he could return next week on November 2nd when Indiana takes on Michigan State. But for this Saturday, the Hoosiers will put their trust in Taven Jackson, who transferred from Tennessee before the 2023 season. In the second half on Saturday, he fared quite well, going 7 of 8 for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns.